Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, the DOD expands its classified AI work with 8 companies. And the U.S. Senate looks to once again codify the NAIRR. It's Monday, May 4th, 2026. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. And now let's dive into the day's top headlines. 8 U.S. technology companies have signed formal agreements to deploy their frontier AI capabilities on the Defense Department's classified networks for lawful operational use, according to a Pentagon press release published on Friday. DOD's new deals with SpaceX, OpenAI, Google, NVIDIA, Reflection, Microsoft, Amazon Web Services, and Oracle follow a major contract dispute between the department and Anthropic that culminated earlier this year over potential ethical constraints that accompany the use of AI in warfare and for national surveillance. Defense officials wrote in Friday's press release, quote, integrating secure frontier AI capabilities into the department's Impact Level 6 and Impact Level 7 network environments will streamline data synthesis, elevate situational understanding, and augment warfighter decision-making in complex operational environments, unquote. The DoD relies on its impact level classification system to categorize data in securely authorized cloud-based hosting environments and services. Different federal agencies abide by different security protocols, and for DoD, IL-6 marks a rigid compliance standard that is required to process classified data for cloud-based defense workloads. Beyond that is IL-7, the most stringent security classification, which covers cloud computing environments designed to handle top-secret, highly sensitive, or critical national security information. The Pentagon's press release notes that the 8 companies will provide resources to deploy their capabilities on both IL-6 and IL-7 environments. However, it's unclear whether all those tech giants have already been fully authorized to deploy their capabilities on DoD's classified networks at this time, or if some are still on expedited paths to get there. Now moving on to other news, a bipartisan congressional push to codify a National Science Foundation-based artificial intelligence research enabler continued this week with the reintroduction in the Senate of the Create AI Act. The bill from Senators Martin Heinrich, Democrat of New Mexico, Todd Young, Republican of Indiana, Mike Rounds, Republican of South Dakota, and Cory Booker, Democrat of New Jersey, would establish the National Artificial Intelligence Research Resource, or NAIRR, that would give AI researchers, educators, and students more access to tools, data, and other information to help develop new systems. Heinrich, founder and co-chair of the Senate AI Caucus, said in a press release that the NAIRR would go a long way toward democratizing access to AI, ensuring that American workers are prepared for the future and primed to lead rapid advancements with the emerging technology to boost the U.S. economy. The NAIRR's origin story dates back to 2023 when a federal task force recommended a pilot version of the resource that was later launched via an executive order from then-President Joe Biden. An NSF spokesman told FedScoop last year that despite President Donald Trump's move to revoke that EO, the NAIRR pilot was still operational. A companion bill in the House led by Reps Jay Obernolte, Republican of California, and Don Beyer, Democrat of Virginia, was introduced nearly a year ago. Heinrich last year led the bill out of the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee. The legislation claims a host of influential backers, including the AI Policy Network, the Information Technology Industry Council, and the Business Software Alliance. Despite the concerted push from both sides of the aisle and industry supporters, lawmakers have yet to get the Create AI Act across the finish line. If the bill passes and is signed into law, it would establish a NAIRR that offers computational resources, including structured access to AI models, curated data sets, and AI data commons, education and technical training tools, and AI testbeds paired with a collaborative project with the National Institute of Standards and Technology. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, as always, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.